Come and join me in a start to finish edit of a Camel Trek travel photo in Lightroom. I'll show you a very basic edit with a few tips you may not know about that generally takes me about 5 minutes. Lightroom's a great resource for editing all of your photos, and I'll show you my top tips and tricks to get the best out of yours. The most requests I get for videos is to make one on how I process my photos, and we're going to start off with one of my photos in RAW, and I'm going to apply my basic workflow to the photo to turn it into this. I'll leave cropping out of this video as that's a big topic on its own, so please see my video on cropping below. Finally, I'll show you my finishing tip to help you get the best out of Lightroom and improve your workflow and improve your photos, so stay around for that one. So my first tip starts before we even start editing, and it's about getting it right in camera as much as you can. Processing photos in Lightroom is so much easier when the photo comes out reasonably okay in the first place. This means that sharpness is a prerequisite and it needs to be shot in RAW for maximum data, and the composition is pretty decent. So let's get into this shot of the Camel Trek tour that I was on. Start off in the basic module, profile tab, and I'll change it to landscape, and then we'll look at the white balance. You can have a go with the eyedropper, a little bit dark and a little bit purple. I think we'll just bring the magenta down a little bit, and the first thing I'll do is drop the highlights and bring up the shadows quite a bit, and then holding the option key and the white slider, just go up till you see any white on the screen and then just dial it back a bit. The same with the black, and that gives you a really good blacks and whites without them being blown out. Then we're on to the texture tab, and remember, texture targets your details, whereas the clarity targets the tones. So it's quite different in what they do in terms of presence with those two keys. And dehaze darkens an image with lots of contrast. Or in this case, I might actually bring it down about 5 or 10. And I don't think we need any vibrance. It's pretty vibrant as it is. Then we go on to the color mixer, and first of all, I just want to go into saturation and bring those blues down a bit because they're quite. Then into the luminance, and I'll raise that up just a touch. I'll probably do the same thing with the yellow, just bring it up a touch. And then onto detail, bring that up a bit, and again option and bring up your masking slider all the way, because you only want to sharpen the actual details. You don't want to sharpen everything, otherwise that brings in a lot of noise, and we don't want that. And I just keep the noise reduction on manual and the luminance and the color just around the 25 mark on a picture like this, which is bright sunlight, middle of the day. Then our lens correction, which is quite critical, because you'll see the difference. It actually lightened the photo as well, so we'll go back. And last but not least, I just give it a little bit of vignette, literally between 7 and 10. It's not much at all. So that's the first sort of round of what I do, and if we do a reset just on that, you'll see that's before and after. So that's just with the basic tab. So the next thing I like to do is move on to the mask. Now, instead of using a mouse and clicking that and then the particular mask you want, just hit M. I always start off with linear gradients usually. So M is just the shortcut key to give you a linear gradient, and it doesn't matter whether you're in the develop module or the library module. So we're just going to drag that down, darken it down a bit, just move it down a fraction more, push the letter M again, and it gives me the linear gradient again, and we'll drag up from the bottom, darken that down. The idea is to focus the eye on the camels, because that's the subject of this particular job. It was for a brochure on camels, so we might actually even bring in a couple from behind, and that down a tad, a little bit, another one over the other side, just a little bit where they're walking into it, and that's looking better already. And probably now I would do a radial gradient, and I would just lighten that up a little bit, draw the eye in, and if I had more time today, I would take out those sticks that are down here that are quite distracting, but we're just going to do basic edits today, so I'll leave them there. So if we click on a little eyeball up here, that just gives us a before and after of the mask. So you can see the vignette, and the camels are actually highlighted as well as the reflection in this particular dam. Often when you do play around with the masks, you need to go back in and just move your exposure down or up a bit, and I'm just moving it down just a fraction. And really that's about it for this particular photo now. One of the tricks I wanted to talk to you about, and it's a really one of the easiest ones to do, and that's to see your image without all of the distractions. And it's a very simple keystroke, and it is the letter L. We push it once, it gives us a slightly transparent background, and then click your L again and it puts the whole image onto a background. Takes away everything around it, and especially if you're using your big desktop screen, it really shows you the image without any distractions. When I look at that now on the black, I feel like it's missing a little bit of vibrance, so I'd probably now just go back in, just crank up the vibrance a little bit, and yes, I think that's just about right.